Yeah, I need to update this chart. Every time I go to update it, I keep having to reduce the scale. But let's go back to the idea of savings. And you probably find that different decades in modern history were kind of dominated by different savings vehicles. So let's say, hypothetically, if your parents' generation, if they maybe are boomers and a lot of their wealth was created or is currently stored in housing, it kind of makes sense that they're going to teach their children that asset should be their savings vehicle. And the same way bonds were, for the silent generation, perhaps. And so, currently it's fairly accepted that the S&P 500, so, a stock index in the US of the top 500 non-financial companies, kind of has become the savings vehicle for most of the middle class in the Western world, if you have access to it. And even with that chart, it looks a little similar, not as extreme, but, units of the S&P 500 kind of was like the savings account for the last decade or so for the middle class. And now as we move to Bitcoin, this chart becomes more important because this is how people are going to measure their wealth. And it's, I don't want people to get upset or feel like they've missed the boat because that's completely missing the point. It's just that when you make this shift, you'll start pricing your labor and your time in Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And the more people that do that, as Bitcoin becomes like this dominant savings vehicle, replacing, say, a basket of stocks or a 60-40 portfolio or real estate, you just will start pricing your time in Bitcoin.
Yeah. Why do you think it is so hard? I mean, we kind of talked about it, but I mean, when I see stuff like this, I'm like, damn, if I didn't have Bitcoin, I would be quite intrigued to a degree, right? To see that, holy shit, like, how is this possible? I need to work like almost 2 years to buy one Bitcoin, the most scarcest asset in the world. That doesn't seem like something that is attainable for me. So, never mind, whatever.
Yeah. Well, firstly, like, you shouldn't succumb to unit bias. The idea that 1/21 millionth of the money supply is like the right amount to own for someone kind of misses the point. Like, I really think the best way to think about Bitcoin is in terms of its current market cap altogether and what you personally believe the total addressable market for Bitcoin will be. You come up with a percentage. Maybe it's currently 2 trillion out of, maybe 400 trillion. And you're like, oh, okay, it's half of 1% to where it will reach like full adoption or a saturation point. So there's a long way to go. And that's the point of the chart. If you look at the trajectory, it's basically saying you can buy Bitcoin today, and 10 years from now, like, say you put 1 hour of your work into Bitcoin today, and then 10 years from now, someone else is probably going to have to work 100 hours to get what you got for 1 hour today.
Yeah.
So it's just saying that, like, time is very valuable. This is still an amazing opportunity to store wealth, and there is going to be the next generation or your grandchildren are going to be working exceptionally hard for a fraction of what you can purchase today with an hour of work.
All the money you have today is worth the most today, and tomorrow it's already worth a little bit less, and the next week a little bit more, and then next year 8 to 12% effectively more, and on and on and on. And here you see a clear trajectory, which is up, when you think about the purchasing power of Bitcoin expressed in time. But, well, eventually you earn your reward by applying your energy and time, right? Like, that's literally your productivity. So, this is an amazing chart.
That's the key word again. Like, going back to what you said earlier about productivity, is you see this chart, and all this is the greatest incentive possible for people to be more productive and create value for others. Mm-hmm. So everyone should be rooting for this chart to continue going up, because the world gets better the more this trend continues.